kids, we're back. We're back. It's Mr. Professor Agar and his able assistant, Laura Sargent. And I'm not sure if you can see Reenie, the guard dog, who is busy.
Yeah.
Can you? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, so we never know what we look like because Laura is the camera person, but as you can see, she's sitting right here. As you realize, some time ago, we decided that we would start a little contest and enable us to show people's work. And I suggested that we have a visual assignment. It's something I do use for students. I have been doing it. It's a popular one over the years. It's called My Favorite or My Least Favorite Thing. It provides technical challenges in that you have to show us with a photograph some things that might be a little hard to actually photograph. For example, what if your favorite thing is to sleep? Or what if your favorite thing is to fall in love? You know, things like that. So there's intangible things that people like to do or like to feel, or they feel is important and they want to photograph it. So that is one problem. So that's the idea of the assignment. And I always ask students to talk a little bit about their photograph when we're in a gallery situation, when the assignments are all due. And I always feel like that sort of enriches what we see in the photograph, and it also tells us a little something about the person. Well, Laura, did we get any responses for this show?
Yes, we got some responses.
Excellent,
for the
excellent.
Contest. Yes, and you've seen them, so.
Well, I have seen them.
Okay.
And one thing I've noticed is looking at the entries that came in was like looking at years and years of my best students' work, because I thought all the photographs were just wonderful. And later, when I started to read the words that accompanied the photographs, I was even more thrilled with the entries. And Laura has put together this wonderful video, this online gallery, this exhibition for this assignment. Very tastefully done, very soothing to look at, by the way. And I think you're going to enjoy this. Laura, I wanted to ask you a question. As you looked at the photographs, what did you think of them?
They were really, really nice. It was a wonderful contest. Thank you so much for entering your photos, sharing with us what your favorite or least favorite. Most of you wanted to show your favorite thing.
It's a positive group, I think.
I'm on board with that too. But in the least favorites as well, when I took a class from him a while back, long while back.
I remember you were still in a little stroller as your mother wheeled you in. No kidding.
He made us take a picture of things that we hated, and isn't that right?
I think I always said your favorite or least favorite.
I think you made us, at the time it wasn't both.
Really?
So you changed your format.
Oh, I do every
And
semester.
I was
or
envious
quarter.
of those future students because you even had them do a portfolio or something.
Over the years we've changed.
I'm sure it's changed again, yes.
Yeah.
But when I was in his class, he had us take a picture of something we didn't like. And that's hard for me because I like everything almost. And
what did you photograph? Do you
I
remember?
took pictures of rotten tomatoes because I love tomatoes and I hate to see them rotting. I took a picture of my deflated pool that had some growth going on in it. It was gross, but I love summer, and the pool being deflated was something I did not like to see. So while I might not hate I hardly hate anything, I did press myself to find things I didn't like. So that was awesome.
I guess, it made you work visually.
Yeah, and also to see things differently too, in a way that you could illustrate them. But as far as the contest goes, it was so awesome to see what you guys have submitted. We didn't get an overwhelming number of entries. We got a comfortable amount. We had 16 amazing entries. And I don't think it's really, really difficult to choose a winner, if you ask me, because there were so many amazing photos. And the reasons why you guys took those was just wonderful to read. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yes, we were honored, weren't we?
Yes, for sharing, for sharing your photos with us and your feelings behind why it's your favorite. It was amazing. Thank you again for that. While I was looking through them, though, I like to put things in categories, I guess. I do taxes, there's numbers involved. And while I was going through them, I noticed a few things that I thought were
Tell me,
interesting.
illuminate us as to what you found out, what you discovered.
First of all, it started when the professor asked me how many of them were analog versus
that's,
digital.
yeah.
But then from there, I was noticing similarities in a few things, and I don't know, I just wrote down stuff that I thought was really interesting. Such as far as favorites or least favorites go, as far as favorites or least favorites go, there was only one least favorite. But it's because the thing that's a least favorite is a favorite. In a way. So, yeah, it was a favorite. So it was a least favorite when you don't have your favorite. So it was still a favorite.
Sure.
In that sense. But anyway, there's 15 favorites, one least favorite. Countries, we reached into other areas besides the
United
US,
States.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
And
international show.
11 that are in the US, and there's 2 from Germany. And 3 from other countries, Belgium, England, and the UK. Woo, international.
Very nice. Very nice.
The cameras I found interesting. There's a Mamma Mia camera.
Mamma Mia, yeah. Yeah, Mamma Mia. Well, I had one my father had one, I had one. And they're nice cameras. They're what I call a poor man's Hasselblad. So if you got the money, you buy a Hasselblad. But if you didn't have the money, you buy a Mamiya or one of those.
Is it how you say a Mamiya?
Either way, it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you say it, but there were 3 of those. There were 2 Canons, and then the rest of them, there's pretty much one of everything else.
Well, yeah, I noticed there was a couple of people who did large format, 4x5 or film backs with their cameras. And so I thought, well, that's very interesting. That's right up my alley, which is what I do also, so I would really appreciate seeing those.
Some of them did a favorite thing. There was 9 favorite things. The others were feelings or activities or memories.
Yeah.
There was 3 feelings, 2 activities, and two memories. Although the memories are of a favorite activity or feeling, so
A little less
it's
tangible.
kind of hard to categorize those.
Yeah.
Anyway, there were so many wonderful photos. I think it was really difficult to choose.
Very much so. I felt like they all became, after a while, my favorite.
Yes, me too, because I thought I had favorites picked out, but then later there was different favorites. They're all favorites. The professor kind of told me something he's experienced when he's had his work judged, which I found very interesting, and that must explain why it's so difficult to choose. Why don't you tell us how judges judge?
Oh, judges, yes. Well, so I've been teaching for a long time, and we've every year at North Hennepin Community College, at least until the virus started, we would have an annual student art show. Annual student art show, we'd have outside judges come in, we'd give them some money, and they would judge a particular discipline such as graphic design, painting, 3-dimensional work, like sculpture and ceramics, photography, of course, and that would include black and white and digital. So over the years, we've had some excellent judges that come in that were so generous in the way they either talked, and then we've had judges that they're maybe a little more reserved. They wouldn't kind of explain their decisions so much. And then always, I know this has always happened. The judges would come in, and the first thing they would say to the students is, a judge is just an opinion at that time, at that particular day. Because all judges, human beings, they're going to have a particular bent in life. There's stuff that they like, and there's stuff that they don't like. They might wake up and come in feeling really good, or kind of crabby, hungover or something. So being judged in a group show is something to, acknowledge, but not to feel disheartened in any way. So as Laura and I have pointed out, this was really an amazing group of images that you sent us, and they're all excellently presented, technically beautiful, aesthetically intriguing. Some of the best judges that have been at North Hennepin, I think Laura was actually there and recorded the whole thing because she was happened to be working on her videos. Did it ever end up online? I don't know. Yeah.
Jack Mater.
Jack Mater, he's a local photographer, taught for many years at one of the community colleges here. So he was one of our finer judges towards the end before we were shut down by the virus. So I just wanted to point out that whatever decisions the judges make for this, it is something that you should take only as what has happened at this particular moment. Because you were all so fine, and it's, again, a great honor to have seen your work.
Indeed.
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 One of the photographs was a great example for an assignment that I give in class. Actually, two assignments. One is to take a photograph that examines the elements of art design. And the other assignment is to photograph sort of common everyday things that we use all the time, but photograph it in a creative way. And there was this one photograph that I really, really liked, and I'm thinking of borrowing it to show students as an example of where you've got lines, you've got your composition, you've got this wonderful sense of balance. It's very concise visually, but then it was something we use every day, but it was done in a very creative way. So the photograph completed two different assignments at once. So I'd give that a student a really good grade if they did that.
Did you notice there's little X's? There's little X's on there that I didn't notice before. It's like each of those little squares is actually an X.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. I still think that's done in
That one was probably enhanced a little bit digitally, if not done digitally.
probably, yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, so
No, it's computer. You got a picture of
Yeah.
his face and they put the umbrella over it. Because the umbrella is not that small.
No.
No.
Maybe it's a drink umbrella.
I don't think they'd make them that big.
And that looks like real metal right there. No, that one's very creative.
Yeah. But it's a good, great portrait, huh?
Yeah. Here's another one.
There's one photograph. It's an interior. And it deals with memories. And the words, I thought, of the memories and the quiet way that this scene was presented reminds you of the Midwest. I'm going to say the Midwest, partially because I live in the Midwest, but also I have friends who live in Wisconsin and North Dakota. And so I've been inside houses a lot, and I see their living rooms and whatnot. And then the little references to the memories of the past that are included in the photograph, I think were very strong. It's very well composed again, and included the lighting coming in through a window. I also thought was very well handled in terms of exposure and development and printing.
On this one, I really like to see the black frame around things, just kind of like,
Oh, you mean the way it's framed? Yeah.
yeah, this is mine, and everything inside was mine. So
Yeah.
I kind of like to see that, and I've seen that on several of them that
So-
came in.
What I think is really Midwestern is the doily on the sofa, and then the curtains, and then the doily on the tabletop too. Mary's into that too. That looks like southern Wisconsin where I got that house.
Yeah, I just love this one because I like old stuff,
Yeah.
and I love black and white. This is so icy looking,
Yeah.
even though it's not
Right.
winter. I just love the tint, if that's what you call it. I don't think you call it the tint, but
You mean the sky or what the
the contrast.
contrast? So it's very stark.
Yeah.
You know, the way the trees are silhouetted kind of, and then the starkness. There's nothing in the sky, and you kind of look like it's on top of a hill, You're looking up, and it sort of has that stark feel.
It kind of looks like something that would have been in The Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
don't
yeah.
you think?
Yeah.
Just how.
And that's the type of house that would see. Now I might not take the picture, but that's the type of house that would invite me to go up and to go wandering around inside.
Oh.
Not to the second floor. I don't do that anymore. I don't go to second floors anymore. I'm too
You
old.
can if you stay off to the edge.
I don't think so. One of the things that I like is nature. I don't get to photograph actual nature involving animals or birds, things like that. That's very difficult. I think very difficult. So a good scene captured well by a camera is something that I have a lot of admiration for. And it's often the use of a close-up, getting in close on, say, a flower or a plant or something like that, and insects or birds, well handled with sharpness and good printing is also something that I admire because I can't really do it myself. And my camera is huge. I can't really get in very close because my bellows only go out so far because with my camera. So I'm good for, rocks and trees and things kind of more far away. That flower picture is really nice, a great shallow depth of field, which is typical when you get in close, you're going to get that shallow depth of field. So that's another good example of where I might show that to students.
I think he might have had not the correct lens, so he had to sneak in close. It was either this one or the other one that he sent, but he had to sneak in close to the subject and hoping it didn't go away.
Oh yeah.
Because he didn't have the right lens with him.
He might have.
It might have been for this one though.
Oh.
I'm not sure, but anyway, this one here is really lovely. I love
very
the
nice,
texture in it.
Yeah.
The film green.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. And the detail.
I can't tell. Is it moving? Go ahead.
I don't know if it's moving, but you know what? This is the stuff Susan McDonald is really.
Oh, that's right.
She liked to make the wings. The patterns in the wings.
What is it called? Not fireflies, not butterflies. Dragonflies. Yeah.
Susan McDonald was somebody that was also a teacher at North Hennepin.
Yeah, now retired.
And she's retired, and she paints portions of the dragon wings. Different. It was very colorful. Those are really cute.
They were colorful, yeah.
So what is that kind of painting she does?
Encaustic, where you use, that's from the time of the ancient Egyptians, and going back to that, it's where you use color, pigment, and wax, and it fuses it together. So
yeah,
encaustic.
It was really textured too. There's a lot of them at the school. A lot of her paintings.
Another image that caught my eye, and this one was in color. We didn't get too many colors, but this one was in color. He grew up in a small town, I know, because I know him, and he has that glorious memory of the past when small communities, tight neighborhoods, you know people in town, they know you, and he celebrates something that at one time was a national pastime of America. I don't think it's so true now. I think maybe football is more popular, but baseball was at its time one of the great American sports, still celebrated and loved by many, but the image that I saw really also was based sort of on a memory and the representation of that sport that's so ingrained in all Americans, really. It's a nice moody shot.
Yeah, this was a bonus photo or an extra photo, and to me I could see a heart shape in the tree, and I guess it could look like people dancing, especially when they raise up their arms and they twirl.
Right.
But yeah, it's just really pretty. I like how there's a little bit of yellowish color in there, and the rest of it is definitely moody.
Yeah.
Your thoughts? Same?
Yeah, I would agree.
I nailed it.
Yeah, I think so. I love landscapes. Landscapes are hard, by the way, and printing is very difficult. So you just see something with your eyes, you get it maybe with your camera, film turns out okay, and then the printing is something else. So I always love looking at either students' work, or in this case, we have people handing in work that are of landscapes, not necessarily students, but it makes me want to feel like I was there. I want to get the same photograph so that I could make my own print. I might print it differently. I've got tastes as to how I'm going to print, and I am freely impose it upon my students, but not this group, because I think this group is august enough as it is.
They're what?
August.
What is that?
That's a good one. I use words. I have no idea what their meaning is. No, it means it's they're heraldic. They're
You're just making stuff up.
No, that's a word. You can Google
it. Is it heraldic
Sure.
and August?
August.
You mean August?
No, it will be like Augustus, the Roman emperor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway.
I think you made that one up.
I'm going to give this assignment in the future. I saw this photograph that this one guy turned in, and it reminds me of how delightful it is to look at this complex world. There's lots of things all over this world, and you're wandering around, and suddenly you see something that captures your eye, and you want to get it. You isolate it, you compose it, photograph it, print it, and in this case, it's something that you might normally pass by, might not even notice. So to be sensitive, to be constantly aware is difficult. You get tired after a while. You can only be sensitive for so long. But when your sensitivity has been heightened, then you can suddenly, everything seems to be really attractive. So there's one photograph that this guy did. I really liked it for its execution, the way that he was able to get in, isolate the form. Now, he didn't create the object. The object has already been created by somebody else, the sculpture of some type. But the way that he positioned his camera and the way he photographed it, and the fact that the object itself was no longer new. It had already gone through the aging process. So it was on its way to becoming something else. So he was able to capture that through his sensitivity and his interest in the subject itself.
This one here is so detailed.
What I want to know is, how did he get the background so dark? Did he burn that in? See, at first, until I read his words, I thought he had this inside, like his studio or his house, and then you can control the light. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if it was outside in the sculpture, how did you get that?
I don't know. I saw it and
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, is that ever detailed?
Yeah, so that's basis for what I'm going to have my students do, because they're stuck in the winter and you got the virus. I'm going to have them pick an object that they like or that they think is interesting and photograph it, trying to make it look something like that, where it's very, kind of.
I think that was, the background was added because...
Well, he might have.
It's hard to say.
Yeah. Well, you're zooming in.
Yeah, zoomed in.
No, he might have.
But it was skillfully done.
Very, high resolution.
Yeah.
Very high resolution.
I don't know. There's no telltale sign that it was photoshopped.
No. Well, that's not my job.
It was a digital photo, but
it was
this is a digital photo.
Oh, then he probably did it, which would make sense.
Probably, but that's maybe why it stands out so much too.
Yeah.
With
it's very well crafted.
Solid background, it really sheds a lot of light on the statue and gives it even more importance, I think.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what word I mean, but
August.
August.
No, this is not August.
Oh no, yeah, this one here is just very detailed. Looks like she has a tattoo.
Yeah, there you go.
Great big arm
20th,
tattoo.
20th century influx.
This is part of the same building.
Sure.
Where the statue was near.
That makes sense too.
And
it's like the same setting.
This kind of stuff might have been covering the statue.
Oh yeah.
These vines and whatnot, but I don't know. I think it really adds to this photo.
Yeah.
I love all the different things in this photo. All the vines, the texture, the wires. I mean, bars.
The
iron.
The iron grill.
Yeah. There's another one.
This reminds me of the Ansel Adams series that he would do out in coastal California. You got your foreground. It leads you into this shape of rocks in the background. That's a very strong image with a very sort of threatening sky. Moody weather, that's what it reminds me of, yeah.
A threatening sky.
A threatening sky.
You better watch out. I don't see how it's a cathedral, but then again, I don't see those. So around here, churches are square buildings. They're in schools. When I was really little, there was a church.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
church that we went to that had these things sticking up from the top of it. But, and then I don't go to the city very often. I know there is a nice one here, but I don't come here very often, so I don't see any churches like that. So I don't even know.
That whole idea of cathedrals and monuments up to the sky, getting closer to God, is very European. So you got a hell of a lot of churches over in Europe built in the Middle Ages and, Romanesque and Gothic period, and, So, cathedrals.
That probably would be a nice place to visit.
Yes, you should. At least, well, you know what? You should have about 10 years ago.
I really like the sky in this one.
Is that
You said
mist?
it was threatening. I don't know. It was probably a rainy day or a.
It almost looks like mist over the water, and then it clears, and then he's using a filter and makes the sky dark, or he could have burned it in.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, here's the.
I like that one.
This was an accident, but it turned out to be really
a fortunate
beautiful.
accident.
Yes.
That's a real Zen attitude.
There's obviously some water here in a city.
Yeah, reflections.
But this might be.
Something else. Who knows?
Might have been the first photo on top. I don't really know. I don't know what it is, but the color is gorgeous.
Yeah, very nice.
Mixture, especially over here on the side, this side.
Yeah.
So it would be that side when you're looking at it from over there. But I think it's just really pretty the way the colors are going.
So
oops, it went away. There it is.
There. So another color photograph. There was a couple color photographs. Another one was showed an interior, but it's multi-level. It looks like you're looking through a door, through another door, through a window. And so you sit there and you try to puzzle it all out. It's a very complex photograph. Reminded me a little bit of some of the work that Lee Friedlander might have done with his complex levels of reflections and looking through things. And then there was I think he had a self-portrait in there also, sort of off to the one side. You can see his head and his hair. That was kind of an intriguing, mysterious photograph. Shows you how you can kind of make something a little surreal without obvious manipulation. It's just the way it is. And anybody could see it, but who would see it except somebody who's looking for it, or is aware or open and sensitive to something like that.
Here's
another Lee Friedlander with a reflection in the window.
Yeah. I remember trying to catch some of these kinds of photos on the road trips.
Oh yeah, right.
Or whenever I went somewhere and there's a big, a truck. One time I saw a big truck that's wheel was almost as big as me.
Those big shiny stainless steel trucks.
I was trying to capture something interesting, but it was all too contrived. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Contrived.
It was all just too put together, so it didn't look right. But this was pretty cool, and the building is really, really nice.
Mm. We didn't get too many portraits, I don't think. Not too many, no.
This one's the only one.
And one portrait that stood out, because I think it was singular.
It's double.
Yeah. It's a double portrait, yeah. It's one of the father and the son, you'll see it there. And that's very engaging. I like the way they're looking right at it. It's very direct. It's a document, but it's done in a lyrical style.
Lyrical?
Sure.
I just feel like they're looking right at me, and I haven't always seen that in a portrait.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I like their bib overalls.
Yeah, like father likes them. This one here, I really like this one because of the grain. I love the grain.
Yeah.
And then
Winter, Minnesota.
I hate the winter. I don't hate it. I just don't like it. It was from the place that's not, some of that stuff isn't there anymore.
Yeah, right.
And that's one reason
Plus
why I really like
if that's a telephone booth, that's not there anymore. You know that. That's
those
an
are
antique.
not there anymore at all.
Yeah.
But to me, that's one reason why I like looking at photos, especially when I know of the area. Now, I don't know this area myself, but I know that most of this stuff isn't even there anymore, including the man, probably.
Probably.
And the cars are definitely from long ago. I mean, I like looking at older photos to see the way it used to be.
So, as I mentioned before, I love landscape photography. It's not easy, but one of the things I delight in doing is when I see a good landscape photograph, I say, boy, I wish I was there, and how would I interpret it myself? Or if I had that negative, how would I print that? It kind of reminds me of this video that Ansel Adams did years ago, and this is when digital was just starting to get going, and he talked about how he was going to give his negatives, or some of his negatives, the University of, I think it was Arizona, maybe it was New Mexico, I forget which one. And he was talking about how students could take his negatives and reinterpret them, you know. This is like sheet music. So Johann Sebastian Bach, 300-400 years ago, wrote down all this music, and we're still living with it today. But every performer who gets that sheet music will interpret it in a different way. So the music then is the score, and the performance, that's the individual, is how they're performing that particular piece of music. And, 2 days later, they might play it differently, So anyway, getting back to this one photograph, I would like to get my hands on that negative. I'd print it this way, or that way. But they got to it first, so that's the way it goes. That's why you should always get out there and photograph when you can and shoot a lot and then print later.
And this one here.
Old barns.
Yeah, well, so I like old, so
Yeah.
old is always...
Well, I like old barns too.
This one here, I don't know, it is kind of cool how the trees look like they're just coming right out of the barn.
Yeah,
That's called a crown on the barn.
I like that. It's a good descriptive photograph, but also done by not showing us the whole barn, but just sort of the interesting parts and the way the trees kind of interact with shadows and just kind of moving it all up to that crown.
Oh, yeah, I can see that over here. It's almost the same shape as over here. Just like that one photo that we took of the truck, or I took. I thought you were with, and you were taking something else on the Wisconsin farm where the trucks were. My dad's farm.
Yeah, you did.
Well, anyway, so I took a picture of a truck that had a crack in the window and little holes in the window and cracks, and in the background there was a tree that had the same kind of leaves and
right.
So it was really cool to see a repeated pattern, and I guess I didn't notice that at first, but this has a repeated pattern.
Yeah.
And that was interesting that you said a portion of the barn, because sometimes you try to take the whole thing, but it's sort of boring. This way.
That's sort of the usual view, the whole thing.
Yeah, and it can be boring. And
this is
nice...
there's other ways. That's another challenge that I ask students is to, when you're ready to take a picture, you look at it and say, can I do it in a different way? Rather, I'm
standard.
Yeah. Can I, crouch down? Can I don't know, stand on something? Can I get in closer? So snow is very difficult. For one thing, dang cold, usually. And then walking through snow, that's very difficult. So I really appreciate having been there, and even with snowshoes on, and with a 4x5 on my back and a big tripod, younger man back in those days. So I really appreciate the effort made to photograph in the winter time, Minnesota winter, and then also the skill it takes to print that snow. It can't get too white. You've got to have the right contrast, otherwise it gets kind of chalky. It gets kind of a chalky look, deep blacks and white whites, and that doesn't look very good. You want snow to be kind of enveloping and really make you feel like you wish you were there. I think this photograph really hits it right on the head there.
Here's another.
Nice portrait.
Oopsie.
I like the off-center and the trail leading you to the left or right.
Yeah, this one has really nice detail in it, and this one is framed with a little bit of black around it, which I really like that about some of these photos with the little black around them. Everything is inside that tiny, tiny frame.
Lauren, what do you think about this photograph?
Okay, so I'm no teacher.
Oh, well,
I really like the
see.
grain in
Yeah.
it. Okay, I like the grain in it, and there's lots of lines in there. And it's obviously a sunny day, which I love sunny days. I don't have a clue what that is. I don't think we even have those here in America.
It has something to do with boats and ships, of which we, as you say, we're not. I think they take the rope and wrap it around those things so the boat doesn't go floating away.
Okay, well, we don't have those here, but...
No, not Minnesota.
I just really love the texture in this one, and the wood behind it. It looks like that's wood.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of being there with the camera, getting the right light. If you were there on an overcast day, you wouldn't have that feeling, would you?
Yeah, no, I love this one. I like the light, the way it's playing on there, and the shadows add to it.
Yeah, I agree.
This is, they were at the playground
Yeah.
and,
You know what? I find this one very interesting for sort of the abstract shape. The two swings colliding and intertangled has made a sculptural piece. But one thing that I don't like is how the dark background bottom mingles with that shape that's almost there, and that all the photographer had to do was crouch down a little bit, maybe even get on their back, and isolate the swing with the white sky, so that, you know, see how the top half is isolated by the white, and it'd be nice if that was carried through to the bottom, and then I think you'd have a really stronger visual statement.
they couldn't use it because it was locked. I have not seen swings like that either.
No.
And they probably creak really nicely when
I
you-
bet they
if you
do.
were allowed to swing on them.
Right. Now you thought that one was digital, right?
At first, yeah, I can't tell that it's film, but you said
Well, it looked like film to me. I don't know why. It also had that.
But it is film.
It did, yeah, well, it is film. Also, I think he said he had a filter when he shot the picture, and that that's the quality that you get with a filter, and, you know, clouds, a good exposure. You get that sort of Wagnerian feel.
Another made-up word.
No, this guy's real. He's Richard Wagner. You know, he's the guy who did all these operas with these ladies, big ladies with horns on their head, big metal breastplates with swords and spears, screaming at the top of their lungs on top of mountains with mist coming in,
Oh
and
my gosh.
yeah,
Glad we
Wagner.
don't live in those days.
Yeah, that was rough.
Those ladies would scare me.
they'd fry you up for
or
a
breakfast.
snack.
Yeah.
Hors d'oeuvres.
They would think I was an embarrassment to ladies everywhere.
Well, you're too
because
thin.
I'm
You would be way
wimpy.
too thin.
This is another
Yeah,
one of
same.
the clouds.
Same day, perhaps.
I'm not sure, but he really likes chasing storms, and
Yeah.
I myself like skies quite a bit too.
I do too, especially out in South Dakota.
Really big,
Oh, yeah,
big
big
skies.
I can remember when I was a young man, we lived out in the country, so the first pictures I took, my 4x5, was to go out and find light coming in at a strong angle to photograph trees and stumps and stuff like that. Early on, that was a long time ago, and I think that relationship between nature and photography is very strong for many photographers. So I feel like that's part of this photograph's impact.
I like this one a lot. It looks like that's a throne. That
It
tree is a stump. Is that what they're called?
It is called a stump.
It looks more like a throne to me, you know, like an
Mhm.
older throne that's coming apart. But I just thought it was pretty interesting, as well as this tree too. It looks like there's like a room in there.
That reminds me of a picture I shot in 1966. Another image
Yeah,
that
it's got himself in it. So it's a
and look at it.
self-portrait.
And look at it. I mean, it's so cute. It's funny. That's the other thing I like about
His
it.
feet are framing the trees.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely great. I would just crop it a little on the right and the left. That's all you'd have to do, just to make it a little more narrow. See, because the two trees and the 2 feet, actually it's 3 trees, just to tighten it up a hair. I'd give the guy an A. See, I mean that's judging.
I'm sure he'll be glad to hear that.
Yeah. You know, there's one person who really went overboard. I gotta pat that guy on the back. He sent in a photograph that not only did he use a 4x5, developed the film, of course, made the print, toned the print, selenium toner, dry mounted the print, signed it, and then he turned it in. Isn't that amazing? I got that in the mail. He said I could keep it, so I'll have to, if he's not a prize winner, I'll certainly have to offer him one of my prints, because I think that's above, what's the expression? Above and beyond?
Over and above.
Oh, over and above?
It's
Yeah.
just simple like that. Yeah.
Something, not august? No, just
No.
kidding.
Robust.
Robust.
I thought we were gonna arm wrestle for this one, but I'll let you have it.
Oh, the print?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I can arm wrestle.
I didn't know what this was.
Well, I knew that it was, at first, I thought it was like looking at in the top of a grand piano.
Hmm.
But you said it was a harp.
No, I didn't say that. At first I didn't know what it was until I read the description, because I've never seen the inside of a piano. To me it sort of looks like Native American beadwork.
Hmm.
So I didn't know what it was. I love the color of it,
Yeah.
but you being a musician,
We've had a couple pianos sticking around.
yeah, you would know more about what that is than me. Then the title, of course, gave it away for me.
Oh, what was the title?
Piano Detail.
Oh, there you go. Maybe I read that too.
Yeah.
Nothing like titles.
It's got a lot of different variations of shades in it, which is
Yeah, nicely done. Another photograph, one of my favorites actually, because I love artists like Man Ray, Moholy-Nagy, later Jerry Uelsman, people like that, and their use of the infliction of surrealism in photography. It takes, the realistic world that we're always looking at with our eyes, the camera's a document, but then they put it onto a different level where they can create almost like a dream, surreal, dreamlike. If it's a bad dream, it's a hallucination. This one photograph that this person turned in had so many little layers of complexity in its surrealism. The painter that I would think of that would match that type of image making would be René Magritte, the Belgian painter, the surrealist from the 30s and 40s.
Oh, it was from Belgium?
René Magritte.
It took me a while to notice that there was a leg missing.
Missing.
Yeah, so every
Missing.
time
What was the title of it? Missing
Uh-oh.
You, right?
Yeah, missing what? Maybe the leg. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And the other shoe.
Yeah.
But every time I look at it, I see something else about this photo. And,
Yeah, it always draws me back.
And there's something that was on the wall that's no longer there that was just painted right around. I don't know. It's a very interesting shot.
He was having fun with this. I just like the way the photographer did something so clever and thoughtful in a way that is very relevant to today and evoked also the past of the great surrealists.
Here's the series.
Yeah.
There must be some sort of nail in the wall to
There
hold
must be.
something, to hold the shoe, and then there's a photo there too. This is kind of deep.
It is. It goes, beyond surrealism, it's kind of conceptual too in a funny way. And then if it's presented in a triad like that, gives you a slightly different feel for the artist's statement. Just the one picture was good and it's powerful. It's great. But then all three of them, then it becomes something added and a different slant. And I like the way, so you got a theme and variations.
Yeah, it could mean more than what we first originally thought because there's added pieces to it.
Yeah.
And they're changed, they're not the same but missing. It's totally different. And this one here's a photo of everything over there. And that's it.
That's it. Should we say, well, in conclusion.
We really liked looking at your photos. They were amazing. You guys put a lot of thought into what you take pictures of and why you did. Me, I just go take pictures and just to have them. So it's also made me think a little bit differently about photos. Thank you for that.
Yeah. This is the conclusion of our judges' talk. We've kind of looked at each of the photographs, made a few comments about them, insights that we see when we're looking at. So you get an idea of sort of what we like as judges. And I must say that, again, it was an extraordinary group of images. We're so happy that you have participated in this. And I say, as my deceased uncle used to say at the end of a great Christmas meal, let's do it again.
Okay, that's it. So, stop it. That's there.